Small town feel with access to both city life and Rock Creek Park. Welcome to Kensington, Maryland. I am Melissa Terzis, DC Real Estate Mama, and today we're going to talk about Kensington. So I would say that West Coasters, when they move to this area, like a couple places, almost to the exclusion of others. Kensington is one of them. Tacoma Park's the other, and we'll talk about that at another time. But I would say Kensington is definitely an area that ranks high on the list for West Coasters. I think that might just be due to its relaxed kind of feeling, as well as its access to outdoor areas and recreational activities. So it's often described by locals and on some local message boards as family friendly, a great community with folks who are very down to earth. Several people have cited on the local real estate boards that it's crunchy. Is it all good? Maybe. I think that there's people who rent here that report they maybe don't have the same friendly, welcoming community, like they weren't able to join the pool or something like that. But for the most part, I think that people that live here generally find that they love it. So, location. Kensington is north of Chevy Chase, it's east of Rockville and Bethesda, and it's west of Wheaton. It is just outside the beltway. It doesn't necessarily feel outside the beltway because if you look at a map, the beltway dips pretty far to the south and back up, and Kensington's in that pocket. There's downtown of Kensington, which is the actual town of Kensington, versus the rest of Kensington, which oddly isn't even a contiguous area. It surrounds downtown, but then there's a part further to the east where over by White Flint that you would think is either Rockville or North Bethesda, and it's got a Kensington mailing address. The pros about location, I would say easy access to downtown. You can hop on Connecticut or Wisconsin Avenue very easily. 270, 495 is very easy access, and then you've got the MARC train or metro that you can grab as well. The cons about location, traffic. People cite traffic all the time. The Connecticut Avenue and Knowles intersection, they're doing a lot of building there, and so that tends to just be a hub for a lot of the traffic in the area. So a little bit of history. In the 1800s, a DC developer named Brainerd Warner purchased land that is now known as Kensington. The plan was to create a Victorian community, which he was inspired on a trip to London and said, I'm going to come back and make a Victorian community. And the town was incorporated in 1894. Initially, it was a summer refuge for people of DC, and now it's really become one of DC's great sought after suburbs. All right, real estate in Kensington. There are some condos along University Boulevard that range from the low 100s into the 300,000s. There are new townhomes that range from the 800,000s to over $1 million. And then there's some other communities that have townhomes in the high 500s. If you are thinking about a single family house, you've got ranch and rambler homes that are in the 4 to 500s. And then there's split levels that get to the 7 and 800s, especially those over near White Flint. And then in the 1 million range, as you approach the 1 million, the homes are larger, typically have 3 to 4 bedrooms and 2,000 square feet. Where there's really a jump is for the new houses. About 6 to 8 years ago, developers started to go into Kensington and do what we call locally as a tear down, taking those old ranch or rambler homes and tearing them down and then rebuilding a very large house on the lot for, somebody to come in and buy and spread out in because they've got tons and tons of bedrooms. My husband and I have a good friend who was probably the pioneer of doing this in Kensington. When he first went there, we were I don't know about that. And now, it's a sea of all these new houses on several of these streets. One of them is Warner Street, which is right behind Knowles and right in the town, named for probably the founder. So you'll see that these houses are usually really large, craftsman style, and they are going to go between 1.5 to over 2 million. They are pricey and they are very, very hotly desired, these homes. So real estate pros, Kensington is popular. It offers a variety of housing types and price ranges. Real estate cons, Kensington is popular, thus it's fairly competitive and there are very few houses for sale. So food, what is here to eat? Well, there's a weekly farmer's market, and then you've got Safeway on Connecticut Avenue. There's their town hall actually offers a dining guide, which is pretty cool. There are 38 restaurants and cafes in Kensington. If you go to Instagram, you can follow the handle Explore Kensington, or the account Explore Kensington, or you can go to explorekensington.com and actually pull up the list. There's a bunch of cute little restaurants there that have high ratings, like K-Town Bistro, Frankly Pizza, Italia's, Old Town Market, Jenny Cakes, and the Knowles Station Wine Bar. If you want fun in Kensington, there are tons and tons of festivals and fairs. There's the Day of the Book Festival, which is a music and literary festival for kids and adults. In summer, they host a concert series at the Howard Avenue Park. 4th of July, there's a bike parade. There's movies in the park on various dates in the summer. September, there's an art show. They've got a Labor Day parade. There's a train show. There's an 8K race. There's a dog parade. There's a Thanksgiving dance. There's a tree and menorah lighting and various arts and other events throughout the year. There are 7 town parks and 3 county parks. There's biking, there's hiking, and then there's trails that all through Rock Creek. There are 3 shopping areas. If that's not enough fun for you in Kensington, there's 3 shopping areas. There's Old Town, which has Antique Row, and that's usually the first thing that people think of when they think of Kensington or start talking about it, is the antique district and Antique Row. West Howard has some international food stores and other small shops, and then Kensington North has some home decor, clothing, and jewelry shops. They also have a really great library. So as far as fun goes, for this tiny little town, they've got a lot of fun packed into it. I'm gonna say it's all pros and no cons. Now, what about kids? So the town parks that have playgrounds is Reinhardt Park and St. Paul Park. There's Noyes Library for young children, which is like a small one-room library just for kids. And then schools, depending on where you live in Kensington, you actually might attend Walter Johnson, Bethesda, Chevy Chase, or Einstein. The school pyramid for the actual town of Kensington is Walter Johnson High School. So, cons, schools. There's a rezoning. There's a new high school coming. If you haven't had a baby yet, do not get yourself set on a high school right now, because things can change. Many Kensington kids that are going to Walter Johnson are likely going to be rezoned into the new high school, which is Woodward, when it opens. Kensington, that's zoned for Bethesda Chevy Chase, is probably not going to be part of any rezoning plan. But again, all this stuff is subject to change. So these are things to know, because people do move there with a certain high school in mind, and just know that there's another one coming to help alleviate overcrowding. And I mean, most people are like worried about a new high school. I don't necessarily know why, because I feel like it's gonna follow sort of the same path that the other high schools in the area have. Regardless, this is just something to consider. All right, so doggies. Well, I've got 2 words for you. Remember that dog parade? Yeah, there's a dog parade. People take their dogs for walks in Rock Creek Park pretty much daily. Rock Creek Park is where you want to be if you have your dog. There are tons of trails here. There's tons of people walking their dogs. They close off a good bit of it too, so that the roads don't have cars on them, and it's really actually kind of awesome. So that is Kensington. I am Melissa Terzis, DC Real Estate Mama. If you have questions about Kensington, you want to know more, I have clients who live there, they love it, we can chat more about it. My contact info is coming